Hi, welcome. So I'm here to share with you that I cracked the code, and I'm asked to share this information. I cracked a lot of codes, but certain ones I'm supposed to wait and not share, and this one I can share. So I've been studying this information for over a year, I believe, and I was trying to crack the code on the Sephiroth for a while. This is even, I just brought out my research papers I was trying to figure out, what is the Sephiroth? What is the purpose of the Sephiroth? And I finally got the answer. And I've been using it, and I really see the difference and the significance of it. Not only that, I just got information from my spirit team on the purpose of it. So in my journey of exploration, I'm a wisdom seeker. I'm a truth seeker, and I connect with my guides. What's next? What do I need to know? And they guide me and redirect me in my life on what's next to learn. So I wanted to know the codes of creation. How was things created? Where do I need to go? So when I ask these questions, things are presented across my path, and now it's up to me to be curious enough to explore. And this is what crossed my path: Hebrew. I realized and discovered that everything is rooted in Hebrew as far as creation, how creation was formed. So I've been studying Hebrew on and off for over a year. But it's an ancient thing. I'm just call it thing. Keep it like that. Keep it nice and light. So the codes of creation is the Hebrew alphabet. That's how creation began, through the Hebrew alphabet. So if I wish you could see my walls. I have whiteboard strips across my wall, and my Hebrew, this is throughout my research, my Hebrew letters are there and meanings, because I was attempting to decode the information. So what I discovered was the Hebrew alphabet is a frequency. So there are 7 doubles, 12 elementals, and 3 mothers. Okay, I'm gonna also share, my book is right there. There's a book where I started at. It's called the Sefer Yetzirah, which is the book of creation. And it's a very small book, by the way. I mean, this book is bigger because it has a lot of different interpretations, but the core book is very small. And that's what I love about the universe, or God, or whoever you believe in. The information about the secrets of life and creation, they're very simple. Just like wisdom is very simple, yet as a human, it could be a challenge to execute. Okay? Not only that, we as humans tend to overcomplicate things, overanalyze things. It's just overdoing it. Analysis that can lead to analysis paralysis, when the information is very simple. And I can't wait to share about the Sephiroth, which I'm going to get there eventually. So each Hebrew letter holds a frequency that is attached to a number. The numbers 1 through 9. Yeah, 1 through 9. I'm doing this because this is my first time actually explaining it. But I've absorbed a lot of the information, but now I'm attempting to regurgitate everything that I've learned. And each number from the Hebrew alphabet holds a frequency. So much so that, as an example, and this is what Jason Shirka initially talked about in his, I think it was the Disclosure series or the Pyramid Code, of how the letter, I call it the aleph, you've heard alphabet, but it's really aleph-bet, because the first letter is aleph and the second letter is bet. How you can say the word aleph, which represents the letter A and number 1, and in the right setting, using maybe even cymatics or I haven't seen anyone do this experiment. I know he said it, but I haven't seen it. I actually bought the equipment to do it, but I never got to do it. Where you can speak the letter aleph, and the aleph creates a formation in the universe, which means it holds a resonant frequency to give instructions to I'm going to call it scalar waves, or to infinite consciousness, to create something based on that letter, that request. which means that letter holds a frequency and it has a number. The numbers are significant because they hold a frequency as well, of course, but think about things like algorithm and like the sequences of numbers. So the numbers start off very simple. The numbers are 1 through 9. And that's very simple because you're like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But when you build upon the numbers and the different sequences and paths that even are presented in the book, the Sefer Yetzirah, you can see that it goes from simple to complex, which means that you could create something very simple, but then it builds up to create something complex from all of the different sequences of the numbers that are used. Okay. So, and that's, like I said, that's represented in the book, the Sefer Yetzirah. So, along that path of me decoding creation, there's also something called the Tree of Life, which you may have already heard of before. And it's also known as the Sephiroth. So this is an idea of what it is. Okay, this is what was mapped out of the idea of what the Sephiroth is. Now, a lot of people, like if you go online and you just Google Sephiroth, you will see a symbol, something like this. Some people move, these are 10 points, but they have a significance. That's what I'm saying. Creation is very simple. So some people have this point down here and some people have it up here. And some people identify this with the chakra system. Some people identify this with Jesus on the cross. So they'll put like a person here and this represents Jesus. Or this even represents the spiritual bodies, like the emotional body, the aura, okay? Different parts of the body. So I was like for a while, trying to figure out what is the Sephiroth. And I started to think that it was like the human body, but I'm like, well, which part is which? But this is what got confusing because as I was attempting to decode it is because okay. So let me go back. Remember I talked about the Hebrew letters. There are 22 Hebrew letters. Each letter has not only holds a frequency, but each letter holds a meaning and either a planet ruler or a sign, okay, like an astrological sign. And some of them rule a body part, but the body parts that were identified weren't matching up with this chart here. Right. So I was just like, it doesn't, that doesn't I couldn't make the connection. It just wasn't adding up. Some stuff was adding up, but everything wasn't. So, and I still didn't get to what I decoded. We're going to get there. As an example, I have my chart here. My TV's in the way. I should move it over. So we have, okay. Samech, S-A-M-E-C-H. It has a symbol, the Hebrew letter, that holds the frequency of the letter S and the number 60, and it represents sleep and the sign of Sagittarius. So some of them hold the sign and some of them hold the planet. Okay, so there's Dalet, D-A-L-E-T, holds the frequency of the letter D. The number 4 represents seed and the sun in the day of Tuesday. Now, that's a whole different other conversation that we're going to come back about how, I don't know if I'm getting it. I'm not getting it today. Well, I'm not going to get into it. So, anyway, let's get back to the Sephiroth. So, what I discovered after all of this time was that the Sephiroth, or the Tree of Life, actually we hold the power, each individual person, in our hands. So, this is the actual Sephiroth. And okay, so also the Tree of Life, the Sephiroth, has meaning. Each finger represents a meaning, a creation. So I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. Hopefully I'll put a graphic up here once I finish. One finger, the crown, represents the crown. Keter, Chakma, wisdom. Baina, understanding. Love, chesed, strength. Gavura, I may not be pronouncing it right. Teferet, beauty, and it also holds the number 6. Nezak, Victory, Had, Splendor, Yesod, Foundation, 10, Malkut, which is the kingdom or kingship. So not only that, each word each word is connected to a planet ruler, which is a part of creation and how you use it, something to create or manifest something. So what I discovered was basically I have the whole world in my hands. And when I make this formation, which represents the Sephiroth, which, like I said, I've been studying this on and off for over a year. These people who did this is nice, but this doesn't represent what it truly embodies. I mean, it does, because you can see that each position has a purpose, but it doesn't show you how to activate this information, and you activate it with this. Look how simple this is. Not only that, since I started using this and holding this mudra, I can instantly feel the energy. There's an activation that happens when you do this. If I was quiet and wasn't talking, I could feel it even stronger. Like if I stop talking right now, I could feel the energy shift, okay, or movement in my body. So let me tell you the significance of this and what this actually does. Not only does it does it hold the frequency of what I just told you, those different words that I just told you. You have the whole world in your hands by just simply doing this mudra in activation. Some say that you would probably want to meditate on it and like get clear and aligned and then let the energy flow. I hear it's not required. It's so strong, I can feel it. So also I got information from my guides on what it's doing. And basically it helps manifest your goals. It clears spiritual and physical parasites that affect the soul, which is the tree. Oh, I didn't even get to that part. The tree, which is you. So, okay, let me stop there for a second. So this symbol, the Sephiroth, the tree of life, right? The tree of life. What do we know about trees? Okay, trees are outside. Yes, they are out in nature. You have the power within your hands. Actually, it's hands and feet, because the feet represents the grounding, the bottom of a tree, which you go up to see a tree. The tree is rooted in its foundation in the ground, right? Think of you and me as the living tree using this. So one thing is, I told you the energy it embodies, right? The names that I called out, the Kether, the Shakma, the Chissa, the Netzak, the Tifra, Geberah, Baina. I might not be saying exactly how the word is, but then I told you these are attached to a planet ruler, okay? And that energy holds a resonant frequency in, I'm going to call it divine intelligence, the scalar wave, the scalar field, whatever word, universal consciousness, whatever word you like. So you're creating something in the field and connecting it with the planetary energy. You have the whole world in your hands. I have the whole world in my hands when I choose this mudra. And I have my focused intention on what I'm looking to create. So think of a tree. What does a tree embody? I spent time, I think it was yesterday or the day before, in nature, and I always sit near trees. And when I discovered this, I was sitting around trees and like, what do I notice about a tree that I can translate into myself, and my life? Trees are rooted, right? Their foundation is solid and rock solid, strong, okay? Trees are everlasting. Trees humans could come and go, and a tree, 25 years later, 10 years later, the trees are going to be there. Of course, no one cuts down the foundation. A strong rooted tree. Trees grow branches, extensions, okay? And even if you cut off a branch, the tree still holds its power and its position. The tree provides a home or shelter for those in need, such as squirrels or birds or animals that they, during maybe the winter months, they go live inside the tree. If they make the, the space and the home for it, they can go live inside the tree. A tree is, like I said, the foundation is strong, is mighty, is powerful. What else did I notice about a tree? Oh, a tree changes through seasons and cycles, right? So in the spring, summer months, it starts to grow and thrive. Oh, and another thing about the tree is, which I haven't done a video about this, I haven't published it, but the tree holds, I'm gonna call it, it's not sacred geometry. The tree holds symbolism. If you look at a leaf, which I took a bunch of leaves and I don't have them right now. If you look at a leaf on a tree, and I've looked at so many trees to study the leaves. So, gosh, I wish I had one. I don't have one. Okay. So a leaf is there, right? It's a line right here, and it's little lines up, or longer lines up. That's the Fihu symbol, which represents abundance. It's an ancient rune. The leaves of a tree are full of ancient runes. Well, full of the Fihu symbol, which represents abundance. The tree is abundant, right? So, okay, and then when a cycle shifts, the tree loses its branches, sheds things that no longer serve it or no longer are needed in this cycle, and replenishes, recharges, and then grows again when it's time to bloom again. There's probably, I know also trees do something with the air, circulate the air. I didn't really look all into that. I know it's a huge significance, and not to mention all of the other things that I have not explored of what trees do for the environment. And look at that. So you take that significant example and you apply it to yourself. We are the living tree. So the tree is representative in nature, and this is the tree of life. We are the embodiment of this tree, of the significance of that tree. But for life, our life as a human life. Okay, so let me get back to what this represents and what it means. And when you activate by simply holding this power that's in your hands. Oh, wait, by the way, one more thing about the tree. When I was talking about the leaves and how it holds the Fihu symbol, actually, let me show you what the Fihu symbol looks like. This is the Fihu symbol. So if you think about the one leaf on a tree, it holds this symbol, like, I don't know how many times on a leaf. Of course, it depends on how big. At least, 2, 4, 6, at least 6 to 8 or more times, which means abundant. The tree is abundant. It blooms in abundance of leaves. Okay, so look at, I wish I had a leaf, but I don't. Our hands. Now, I did a video about our hands a few years ago. And I talked about how our hands, and not only just our hands, our bodies have these little lines. If you look close, super close, you see like these little lines, so one day I discovered, I was like, well, what are these lines? What do they represent? It's not just lines and skin, it's deeper than that. Anyway, so I bought a telescope and I zoomed in on my skin, right? And then I realized these are patterns, formation, even runes in our skin. And in the video I'm gonna try to find it. I posted it at least 2 or 3 times. But our skin holds the same kind of encoding that a tree, number one, does, and then the leaves of a tree do. We have the same thing. It's hard to see. You gotta zoom in on your skin and see the formations. So I found a bunch of different types of runes of the formations of the rune or the symbol embedded and encoded in my skin. And when I posted it at the time, I went over so many people's head. I just was like, well, maybe it's not time for this information. But it's the same energy as what's represented in nature. We're also encoded with divinity. And we also hold the power in our hands. We just have to stop and pay attention and notice it. Then once you notice it, you start using it and testing it and experimenting with it, right? Okay, so I'm wrapping up. Thank you for listening. Let me just finally finish the information that I channeled from Spirit. I typed it of what this represents. So 1 is to help you to manifest your goals. And the goals are more about your soul purpose, what you're here on earth to do. Okay? To clear spiritual and physical parasites that affect the soul. The tree, which is you, it doubles your personal power towards your purpose and direction. And I have a note in that hour, which we're not talking about that right now, but just know that. It also drives you to win and win your request, to get your request answered, and builds momentum on your creative projects. So that's it. But I'm just saying, how simple is it to just sit like this for a moment? Or even if you're a person who prays, you do this while you say your prayer or your request or your affirmation or whatever. You do this. You connect the energy. You sit in your Sephiroth or your tree of life, and you manifest your desires. Let me know down below if you have any questions.
You can do what you want, just seize that day. What you doing?